guys, it's Anissa. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing another full face of first impressions testing new makeup. Majority of this makeup was actually from the drugstore, and I must say I was very impressed. I'm really happy with the way today's makeup turned out. We did have some bumps in the road that I will talk to you guys about in the video, but if you're interested to see how I came up with this look, then make sure to keep on watching. Before we go any further, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel once a week, so you never have to miss me for too long, but yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I actually already filmed this look yesterday, which was Thanksgiving, and I love the way that it turned out. I was like, you know what? Not only am I gonna film today, but I'm gonna edit this video. So I was working on homework for a little bit and then went to get my SD card out and mama couldn't find it. So long story short, I spent about an hour of my life yesterday looking for that SD card and she is gone. I'm getting ready to move, so I'm hoping that I will maybe find it in the process of moving. I'm actually kind of excited because this is a first impressions, but I already know how these products perform. So the makeup looked good yesterday, so I'm hoping it looks even better today. Everything that I do not mention will be down in the description box as always. Start with the brows, and I do have a new brow pencil. BH Cosmetics Brow Designer dual-ended precision pencil, and I have this in the color Ebony. On one side you have your product, and then on the other side you have your spoolie. I actually thought that BH Cosmetics was going out of business, like they went bankrupt, but they actually got bought by somebody, so they are now back in business. But I have been holding on to these products for a while because I was like, well, I'm not going to use them if it's discontinued, and I was just going to give them away, but we're safe. I wanted you guys to be able to get your hands on these products if I liked them. So I kind of already know how I feel about these products. It's technically not a first impressions, but it is because I did film it. The odds were just against me. This brow pencil is not the best thing I've tried. Really don't give much slack to brow pencils because I can tell from the first time I use them if I'm going to like them or not, just because it's the first thing I do. There's nothing else on my face. It shows up, but you have to press really hard to get it to show up, and when you initially put it on, it almost is so faded that it looks like you've already blended it out. The drugstore just does brow pencils so freaking good. This is something that I'm gonna have to pass on. It's not so horrible that it ruined my makeup and my mood. I was able to fix it with other products, which is what I'm going to do, but I want to show you guys what I'm able to do with the product and then what it'll look like after I use my other products. I just like my brows to be really sharp looking, and this makes the edges of them not look super crisp. This is what the brows look like now. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my products and then we'll be back. I went ahead and added some more of a different brow pencil, brow pomade, cleaned up underneath the brows, and also primed the lids. I'm not super happy with the brows, but it's okay. They look a little bit harsher than usual because with that first brow product, they were there, but they weren't there. So then I had to compensate for that with a more pigmented brow pencil. So now I just feel like they look a lot more high here, boom, I'm in your face. The original eye look that I did yesterday, but I'm gonna modify it a little bit just because I want my liner to pop a little bit more. Today we are going to be using a combination of these two palettes from Profusion. These are the 10 shade palettes. This top one is the nudes, bottom one is the classics. This is what the nudes palette looks like up close. Row is all matte, this row is all shimmers. In the classic, more shimmers than mattes, but a really nice black. I'm just going to do a crease color from the nudes palette. These two, Indulge and Calvary. Add in a little bit of this color down here from the classics palette. This is called Alert. I've used Profusion on this channel multiple times. Profusion is the reason really favor drugstore eyeshadow over high-end eyeshadow most of the time, because Profusion is about as affordable as it gets, and it's good quality. You don't have to pay a lot of money to get good eyeshadows. This formula is actually very good. Most of the time I reach for this formula over some of my high-end formulas. So I'm just really messily putting that in the crease. What I love about these colors is that they do give a nice amount of pigment. I kind of like to start slower with them just because I found that I'm so heavy-handed sometimes that it's easier for me to add than it is to blend, because I don't blend all the way sometimes like I would like to. It's great when a eyeshadow is pigmented, but if you can't blend it, it's not really much you can do. That's all we're gonna use from these Profusion palettes, but I'm telling you guys, I don't want you to think that just because I'm not using them doesn't mean they are not good. I'm not using them because I know that they are good, and I wanna highlight some of these other products that I'm not super familiar with. If you guys are looking for not even just affordable eyeshadow, but just good eyeshadows, Profusion is the way to go. They have smaller palettes like this, they have huge ones, they have colorful ones, they have neutral ones. There is a palette for you, I promise. I own 7 or 8 Profusion eyeshadow palette. I did want to go ahead and put on a little eyeshadow topper, Super Shock Shadow in the color Pledge class. So this is what it looks like, just a really pretty gold color. And the reason that I wanted to go ahead and still use this today is because I'm not super familiar with the Colourpop Super Shock Shadow formula. I have tried the blush. I absolutely cannot stand the Super Shock cream blush. The formula is just horrendous to me. I know what they were trying to do with the cream to powder, but every time I use that, no matter what foundation I use, no matter what powder I use, it pulls my makeup off. I'm gonna go ahead and use my finger, and when I used this yesterday, this was just such a pretty topper. It gives a nice foil to the lid that I really, really like. So I'm just gonna put this all over. Creamy, it's not super chunky. It's pigmented, but you can also see through it, which is why I think it's a really good topper, because you're going to be able to see what shadow is underneath it. Also in cases like today where I just wanted something a little bit more simple. I have 2 different eyeliners. One, I have used the formula. This is just in a different color, and this is completely new to me. So I do want to go ahead and talk about this quickly. Maybelline Hyper Easy eyeliner, and this is in the color 800 Pitch Brown. Hands down, the best eyeliner I've ever tried high-end in drugstore is the Maybelline Hyper Easy. I had it in black, and I actually, a couple of videos ago, thought that I picked this up, but it was actually an eyeliner pencil, not the eyeliner pen. So I went ahead and used the brown yesterday. Beautiful. I expected nothing but greatness from this product. I recommend this not only to just beginners, but also people who are very advanced in makeup. I don't feel like I'm very talented in the eyeliner department, especially since I still use my e.l.f. eye tapes, but this literally glides onto the eye so easily. It's not patchy. It's not going to skid on your eye. It's very pigmented, and I love the fact that it's a brush tip. I know some people like felt tips, but I like a brush tip better personally, because I feel like a felt tip kind of almost fights me with the movement versus the brush follows the stroke of my hand. I want to go ahead and use this today, and hopefully it pops a little bit more with this simple eye look. Hard Candy Stroke of Gorgeous Color Liquid Eyeliner, Espresso in my feelings. It's like a really pretty shimmery eyeliner, and this also is a pen eyeliner. And it's very, very subtle. Just the prettiest little shimmers. Now I did find that with this I had to go over a couple spots just a few times because it wasn't giving the pigment that I wanted. These off. A really nice shiny look. I mean, honestly, maybe it's just the difference between a shiny eyeliner and a matte setting eyeliner, but I don't know. I just think it adds like an extra touch. To me, it's those little things that add up. Using primer water really quickly, I went ahead and just applied my hydrating primer all over the face. We are ready for our pore filling / mattifying primer in the T-zone. Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer, and this claims to smooth and perfect the pores. First impression yesterday, I was really impressed because this is one of the only primers that I've tried that I could literally physically see my pores being filled in. I can feel that they're being filled in sometimes, but I've never been able to actually like physically see it. So I was very impressed by that. But the longer that I wore my makeup throughout the day, you could see my pores. It was like there was no makeup in my pores at all. I've heard people say, oh, you know, my makeup slides when I use pore filling primers. I've never had that issue ever. And I saw it yesterday. So this is something that I definitely would skip out on, but I'm still gonna use it today. And this is more heavy feeling on the face. This is new from the Sephora collection, Best Skin Ever Liquid Foundation. And I have the color 44Y. And I think the match is actually pretty good. I did not match myself this time. Usually when I go into Sephora, I like to match myself. And I know I'm not perfect. I don't always do the best. Usually on this channel, I do half brush, half sponge. But yesterday, I actually really liked the way that the sponge side not only looked but also wore. I felt like at the end of the day, my makeup looked a lot better on the sponge side than the brush side did. I just felt like the sponge side looked literally like skin. The brush just made it look a little bit makeup-y. I'm really not using much. This does claim to have a natural finish with medium coverage. It just literally looks like skin, and it is medium coverage. So you do see some of my blemishes peeking through, but that's okay because I am going to use a powder foundation, which is going to help us achieve that full coverage that I'm wanting. I just put this tiniest bit on my forehead. This is the before and this is the after. It actually does a little bit of blurring, which I was not expecting it to do. I don't ever expect liquid foundations to blur. I kind of lean on my powder for that reason. Do not agree with is this claims to be natural coverage. I definitely would say that this is more of a satin semi-matte finish, which I don't mind because I do have oily skin. So my makeup ends up looking pretty natural at the end of the day with all my oils and stuff. But sometimes, and yesterday I found too, my makeup almost started to look better throughout the day. And I love when my foundation does that. The top of the brows. I gave this a 9.5 out of 10 only because it does claim to have a natural finish, and to me barely slides by as a natural finish. When I think of natural, I think of a little bit of a glow, but when I feel like my face has been a little bit mattified, I don't classify that as natural. I still did like it, and I honestly thought that this wore very, very good. We are going to follow that up with the concealer as well. I wanted to go ahead and use them together. The Sephora Best Skin Ever Full Coverage. I really love this combo together because I love achieving full coverage, but just because your foundation isn't full coverage doesn't mean you can't achieve full coverage. What I do, and I found the most important part of my face to look flawless, is the under eyes, because it is the center of your face. So you want it to look nice and highlighted and smooth. And if I do use full coverage foundation, I don't use a powder foundation. I use a translucent powder. Usually I would do half brush, half sponge, but I also found with this concealer that it looked a little bit more makeup-y and streaky with the brush. It wasn't able to sink into the skin the way that I wanted it to. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a sponge again today. And for this to be full coverage, this is very, very creamy, very lightweight. And honestly, my makeup really didn't feel heavy at all yesterday. The only places that felt heavier than others per se was my T-zone. We're gonna let the under eyes sit for a second because I am gonna go in with cream blush, and I have never tried this brand. This is something that I came across in Target. This is Undone Beauty's Lip to Cheek palette, and I have this in the color 340 Rosewood. You can see how creamy it is based off the brush strokes and the product. Just super, super creamy and glowy. So the reason that I was really impressed with this blush as well is because I did consider that Sephora foundation to be more of a like satin finish. And I found that sometimes glowy blushes particularly will pull off makeup that's a different formula. Just like today, I was afraid that it was gonna pull the makeup off, but it did not. This is actually pretty buildable. The only thing that I did notice is that unfortunately I did lose a lot of my pigment when I set underneath my eyes, but that's because the powder that I'm using to set underneath my eyes does have color to it. It gives such a pretty flush to the cheeks, and I love that natural glow that it gives. Just super, super creamy. I forgot to put my highlighting shade on in my under eyes, so let me do that. 20 out of 10. Went ahead and added my highlighting shade, so now I'm feeling gorgeous. Now it is time to set underneath the eyes. We have another drugstore product to try. Black Opal True Color Soft Velvet Finishing Powder, and I got this in the color 200 Neutral Light specifically to set underneath my eyes. I just want to go ahead and show you guys what that color looks like. So you can see it is lighter. I've been trying to tread really cautiously with my loose powders because sometimes I put too much underneath my eyes and then it makes it look cakey. I'm just adding a little bit at a time here. I did use a sponge on both sides for this step because I found that with loose powders, they just set so much more beautifully underneath the eye with a sponge because the sponge can almost like melt the product into the skin better. It just did a really nice job at smoothing and just giving a little bit of mattifyingness. So this is the before, as you can see, pretty glowy over here. And then this is the after. I use two concealers underneath my eyes because I have found that you will actually look less cakey if you use more creams and less powder. So the reason I was using a lot of powder was to give me that brightened effect. Well, I don't have to use a whole lot of powder because I already have the bright effect that I want. It just needs to be set. We do have new drugstore pressed powders, and these are the same, just in different colors. I have the BH Cosmetics Matte Finish Pressed Powders. This is in 240, this is in 250. It's hard for me to color match myself online sometimes, so I went ahead and just picked up two different colors. This is 240, this is 250. This one's a little bit more neutral, but I actually went ahead and mixed the two yesterday, so that's what I'm gonna do again today. And I am looking for a little bit of coverage, so I'm gonna use a dense flat brush. This just gave the perfect amount of coverage. It's not the end of the world if every imperfection isn't covered. I found that if I let some of my imperfections peek through, it makes the makeup look a little bit more skin-like. I really liked this powder. And I actually felt like this kept me matte for a really long while. Considering I didn't touch up or anything yesterday, I had my makeup on for like a good 14 hours. I'm always really impressed when my skin still looks like skin after powder. Powder sometimes takes away a little bit of the dimension, but it's okay because it gets added back after the setting spray. This is the other Undone Beauty product that I was talking about, Warm Up Bronzer. I'm not that dark. I tell you guys that all the time. There are people much darker than me, and I struggle to find drugstore bronzers, but these two together, let me just show you. Perfect amount of color to the cheeks. I prefer creams, especially cream bronzer and stuff, because it's a lot easier to make it look natural and like your skin and not powdery and blotchy, as long as the formula is okay. But this gave a really nice warmth to the skin. Never judge a book by its cover. Oh, this highlighter will be okay. It'll be all right. No, it's amazing. This right here is a more yellowy color and this is more pink. I'm gonna go ahead and mix the two today. This reminds me a lot of the Essence Sunlighter. It's so silky. It really put the icing on the cake in the inner corner. So pretty. We've resumed. It's been about 3 hours. Went out to eat and not gonna lie, I'm a little sad. Only because if you look underneath my eyes, the makeup has settled in my smile lines. I didn't do this yesterday, but I didn't do anything differently. I didn't set my makeup. Black Radiance Long Lasting Setting Spray. So maybe that's it, guys. I wore that makeup all day yesterday and it did not do this. And the only thing different was I didn't set the makeup. Did I just prove to you guys that setting spray makes all the difference? Fine lines underneath my eyes. So I don't expect anything to get rid of it. I just don't want it to accentuate it. And when I got home just now and looked at my eyes, like it was accentuated. I didn't even know my fine lines went all the way out to here. Finish the eyes, the lips, and then we will be done. Smashbox Always On Gel Liner, and I have this in the color Shark. Unique, cool toned black. It's not like a super, super black. It's kind of like an off black with some tones of gray in it. I'm just gonna run that on my waterline. I think it gives the most subtle difference. I like it. Do I think that you need to go out and buy the specific gel liner? No. There's things at the drugstore that do the exact same thing. Out of curiosity on my smile lines to see if going in with a little bit of this powder will make a difference on the smile lines. I know that sometimes some colored powders are not great for refreshing makeup because they can get very cakey and makeup-y. So we're gonna see. That did help. Oh, that actually completely got rid of them. Guys, I'm the worst. Literally every time I film, I always forget to turn those lights back on. I do have two new lip products. Rim Beauty Lip Liner Pencil, and this is in the color Reverb. This is really weird because it's going on super patchy, and it did not go on like this yesterday. I literally was just getting ready to tell you guys how much I love this lip liner because I was eating, drinking, talking, sleeping, and it was still on after 13 hours. I'm not gonna lie, I'm literally contemplating my whole existence right now. I don't know anything anymore. Last but not least, we do have a new lipstick, Morphe lipstick, and I have this in the color Cuddles. That's definitely a lot better. I wanted to go ahead and swatch this on my hand for you guys. It's like super creamy and very shiny formula. And I usually like gloss over top of my lipstick anyways, whether it's matte or not. I didn't even put gloss on with this because it's so shiny. I liked the lipstick and the lip liner yesterday. When I used this lip liner, it went on like butter. So maybe my lips were more dry today. I don't know. Things I wasn't as impressed by had to have been this primer, this eyeliner. That is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel once a week, so you never have to miss me for too long. If you guys have tried any of this makeup, let me know. If it's on your wish list, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.